Our guest this week is a serial entrepreneur, cancer survivor, and author of Eating to Live, Unlocking the Leaky Gut Code. Founder of the company Eating to Live, I'd like to welcome David Meine and Carla
Yep.
Meine. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
That's right.
Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. And so how you guys doing? How are you guys doing?
We're good. You cut out there just for a sec, so we didn't hear you. Sorry.
Okay. We'll just keep it going. I can edit some of this out. Maybe having some technical issues, but we'll get through it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
my wife Carla is a certified counselor.
Certified. What was that again?
Certified functional nutrition counselor.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. And what is your background, David?
The reason we wrote the book, Eating to Live, Unlocking the Leaky Gut Code, is I'm a cancer survivor and had multiple serious health challenges from arthritis, colitis, Crohn's, brain fog, back issues, and
Neuropathy.
they kind of everything led up, along with peripheral neuropathy in my feet, to this big cancer battle that we started in 2015. And it went over 2 years. I ended up with 21 tumors.
Wow.
3 surgeries, 2 rounds of chemo. And we learned working together. Carla was an amazing caretaker through that enormous series of health challenges. And, we weren't sure I was going to make it through. And we found out I had a compromised immune system. I had a leaky gut that was causing unbelievable inflammation in my body. And we learned through nutrition and lifestyle changes that we could reverse. And so everything I just shared with you is in remission. And we wrote this book because we wanted to help people learn that they can take back their health. Here's an interesting something to think about. What if most everything you've been told about your health was wrong?
I absolutely agree with that 100%.
And that's where we come from, is that we now teach how simple changes can help everyone reclaim their health.
That's a beautiful thing. And this was just, how did you guys how did you come across this? You're battling cancer, and how did you come across that you needed to do something to change your diet and fix your leaky gut problem? How did that all come about?
Well, I decided to go back to school to become a certified functional nutrition counselor. And through that degree, I realized that what we had to do was get rid of the inflammation in David's body. That was the number one thing. We needed to remove inflammatory foods that were causing the inflammation. And once we removed those, then his immune system could do its job. Your immune system is amazing. It can heal and repair a lot of things, but it can't if your body's inflamed. So the first thing they teach you is help the client clear the muddy waters. So that means get rid of the foods that are inflaming you. And then it's introduce foods that build up the immune system and make the immune system powerful and strong to do its job. And so it was through that, and David met with some doctors during the course that were restorative type doctors, functional doctors, who said, you've got a lot of inflammation, and the only way to get rid of it is to remove these foods. So it was a combo of doctors that were in that area and field of expertise, and then my education, the combination of the two.
And I forgot to share one thing in this journey. In 1999, I was prescribed my very first heavy duty medication called Lyrica for my feet. And then over
Okay.
19 years, they just kept adding more medication. So by the time we got through the cancer and back surgery, I was on 5 prescription drugs, heavy duty, Cymbalta, duloxetine, and Lyrica and Lortab and more. And then I had 5 over-the-counter medications I was on for all my digestive system because I was using Tums, Rolaids, Pepto-Bismol, Prilosec,
NSAIDs.
and NSAIDs, which are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like ibuprofen, naproxen. And so through that journey, what we learned was the NSAIDs were also contributing. So the number one thing for me personally that was causing inflammation was sugar.
Mm.
And right now, the average American diet, based on the 2010 study, consumes 130 pounds of sugar a year. So the sugar was inflaming my body, and then I'd take the NSAIDs, which are supposed to be anti-inflammatory, which they don't do what they say they do.
They destroy the gut wall.
They destroy
Right.
the gut wall in your small intestine.
Right.
And so I was in this vicious cycle. And then when we started healing my gut with the right foods, getting the sugar, other things out, my immune system started working. And then in 2020, I worked with these doctors all year to get off of every single medication. Good news today, my pain level's gone from an 8 to a 10 every day. I'm down to a 0 to a 1, and I take no medications.
That's beautiful.
Over the counter or prescribed by doctors.
That's awesome. That's a typical thing we see, right, with people is they get on this prescription, like this path of prescription drugs, and they seem to become more and more, right? And then does
Right.
that causes issues too, like with side effects and inflammation and stuff like that, right?
Right. And then what you're given is a drug to deal with a side effect, and no one's dealing with the root cause.
That's right.
No one's talking about what is the root cause. Let's deal with that. And then you don't need all these prescription medications, or a bulk of them for sure.
That's right. And you talked about sugar and the daily intake of the average person, I think especially in America. Correct me if I'm wrong, but does that not fuel like cancerous cells?
Yes.
Well, and what happens, I think the best description that I heard of all of this is sugar and processed foods. So not just sugar, but other processed foods. What they do is they get into the small intestine, and the best description I heard is that there's a big wall on the small intestine that's like shag carpeting, and it's got these fingers, and over time it gets shaved off till it's like Berber, and then eventually holes break through, and food particles and toxins then go through that wall into your bloodstream. Well, your immune system says, hey, that's not supposed to be there, and starts attacking it, right? And that's one of the things that causes inflammation. Inflammation is good when it's a wound and it has to go heal that. But when it's firing on itself because it thinks that there's these particles in the bloodstream that aren't supposed to be there, then it starts firing and shooting and inflaming the body. So what happens is cancer cells develop in our bodies all the time, but our immune system goes, oh, nope, that's a bad one, and it takes care of it. But when you have an inflamed body that it is on the attack and it is over here working on the inflammation all the time, then cancer cells come along, it doesn't do anything to them, and they just grow and proliferate at rapid rates because number one, they're getting sugar, so that's going to help that cancer cell proliferate, and then number two, the immune system isn't attacking it because it's on overload over here dealing with the inflammation.
Wow. All right, so can you give the audience maybe your best description of what leaky gut is, so they have a good idea?
Well, it's just exactly what I just said. It's when that villi gets shaved down from most of the time it's foods that your system gets sensitive to after time, or that they don't recognize as food. Let's take white flour, for example. It's been changed, modified to the point your body doesn't recognize it as wheat anymore. It's not a food group, so it doesn't know what to do with it, right? So you take these foods, you eat them and eat them and eat them, and it destroys that villi. And eventually there's a leaky gut, meaning that those holes go through and particles move from inside the intestinal wall into the bloodstream, and that's leaky gut.
Here's
That,
something to think about. A lot of people don't understand. Like, we can eat in our teens and 20s and 30s, we can eat really bad, and the body deals with it. And remember, Carla was saying that villi that's in the small intestine, it's like a shag carpet. And so it's really hard to break and get these junctures in that. But as it gets shaved down and down, we get to our 40s, 50s, and 60s, and now we've got this berber. And so now we get a juncture open, and these bacteria and food particles and things that aren't supposed to get through can get through. Now, the good news is, in my case, now we've been on this path 3.5 years, and we've worked really hard to heal my leaky gut. Well, for me now, as all that villi has grown back, I'm not eating the things that I'm sensitive to that will go through. So, like, for me, sugar is really bad. Number two, I'm gluten intolerant, and that happens. I could deal with gluten probably in my 20s and 30s,
right.
40s, but then I got to my 50s and 60s, and I now have to be 100% gluten free because of the spike proteins from gluten that will open up those junctions. Here's a funny thing. We started trying to figure out what food sensitivities. Carla's designed a e-learning program that people can figure out what food sensitivities that are causing inflammation in the body. Well, for me, we were eating salmon 3 times a week because I wanted to get the omega-3s, and it's a healthy source of protein. When we found out and did the research, I have a food sensitivity to salmon. Now, one thing I want your audience to understand, the thing that's so great about functional nutrition is there's not a one size fits all. There's not a pill that works for everybody because of our genetics, our different DNA. But Carla, she can have salmon. Now, here's an interesting thing. I can eat spinach all day long, but Carla has a food sensitivity to spinach.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So everyone has to become a scientist. Their body is the lab experiment, and they are doing the most important experiment on themselves that they need to, because they're really the only ones that can figure out what foods are causing their problems.
Right.
And then make sure they're eating the right foods that are going to help their immune system heal and build back their compromised immune system.
That's interesting. And then, so I know you say that it's everybody's a little different, but what are some natural things that maybe people can do to boost their gut health and kind of help promote, better health, gut health?
Well, what we do at Eating to Live, we encourage them to do an elimination protocol, which means that you eliminate sugar, gluten, dairy, poultry, eggs, meat, just to start off with, to see if any of those foods are causing you inflammation, because there's really no way to know. Some people have to eliminate, even nightshades, the tomatoes, the peppers, things like that. Some people have to eliminate seafood because they have an intolerance to shellfish, things like that. So let's clear the muddy waters. Let's get your inflammation down. And most people start feeling better within a few weeks. They go, oh my gosh, I was inflamed because now I'm feeling better. I notice my brain fog is going away. I notice my joint pain has gone away. I notice my indigestion, bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation, whatever it is for them, they start seeing skin issues. I have clients that have skin issues. Those start going away. And then what we do is reintroduce those foods one at a time, eggs, poultry, one at a time, wait 3 days and see if your conditions start coming back. If they don't, you're probably okay with that food, and then introduce the next one and the next one. Then we reintroduce meats. And then if they can handle it, we reintroduce dairy. A lot of people can't handle dairy. So we know sugar and gluten are two of the biggest offenders
Yeah.
for sure. But dairy can do the same thing to people. So it's just a trial and error, and it's what people have to do to figure out for themselves what foods are causing my inflammation.
So there's one key to this, though. As a scientist, you've got to journal. So one of the things that we've done is we have a paper journal that people can download
Uh-huh.
and write every day what their eating, what their pain, what their bowel movement is. We've also created an app that you can get on iOS or Android, download, and you can do it on your phone.
Right.
But let me give you a little example why. So 2 years ago, Carla said, Dave, would you please fill out this while she was going to school? I need you to fill out this food, mood, poop journal. And I'm like, okay. So I promised her that no matter what I ate, what I drank, I would log. Well, one day I come home and I'm just sitting there and I was feeling great, no pain, things are going good. And I come on and go, oh my gosh, I am so sick. I don't know what's wrong. I got diarrhea. She says, where's your journal? So she goes, gets the journal, looks the day before, doesn't see anything. And then she looks 2 days before, and I had stopped back from a fly fishing, day of fly fishing, and stopped and got my favorite shake, a German chocolate shake. And it took a day and a half, 2 days later, and I was super sick. But most of us can't remember what we ate the day before or 2 days ago.
And that's what it tells you. It tells you that some things impact you immediately. Like you'll eat a food and you have indigestion and gas and bloating and you go, oh my gosh, why do I do that to myself? Most foods, though, don't impact you for 2 days.
I believe that. I believe that because I got blood sugar issues, and I've noticed even sometimes a food that I eat, it might impact me initially as well, but like even a couple of days later, it'll impact my sugar levels.
Yep.
But that's a good point about the journal, because you're right. Sometimes you may not think about it or forget what you had 2 days ago, and you don't really understand what's impacting your blood sugar or your health or your inflammation in this case. That's valid. I think that's a good tool to use.
Right. Well, and a lot of people can remember a couple of things they ate, but they can't remember every single thing they ate. And for you, when it comes to blood sugar, some of the things are, how do you eat them, right? Do you eat a good fat and a good protein before you eat something that maybe has a little bit higher sugar content, so it will help manage your sugar, right? There's ways to eat foods, especially if you're dealing with blood sugar issues.
Yeah.
So it's important that people not only understand, I ate every one of these things and this is the impact. One time we had a glucose monitor on us, and I make a gluten-free pancake that's we love. Well, we had never watched our blood sugar, and it really spiked. Like, it was unbelievable for a gluten-free pancake. And so the next time I made it, I said, Dave, I want you to eat a half avocado and then a couple of sausages. And then we're going to have, and I could have eggs. So I had some eggs with the avocado, and then we'll have just a couple of the pancakes. And the blood sugar didn't hardly go up at all. So we ate less pancakes than we had the other time. So that was part of it. But the bigger issue was the good fats and the protein prior to even a good carb, right? Even good carbs will spike sugar for some people.
Absolutely.
So we started paying attention to how we ate foods.
That's awesome. And to kind of bring it back a minute too, we were talking about medications and causing inflammation. What is the impact that antibiotics have on gut health?
Oh, they just destroy the gut
health.
I mean, it can take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks for that all to come back. Let me share something on gut health that people, I don't think, understand. So when we started on this path 3.5 years ago, I got started on probiotics, prebiotics, and things that we thought would repair my gut. Well, they don't work. If you have a leaky gut, it doesn't matter how much good bacteria you have in there. It's still, you still got all that food that you're ingesting and beverage you're ingesting that are going to hit that small intestine. And if you got those junctions open, right? Yeah, you've got some good bacteria there from the probiotic, prebiotic, but you're still letting the, for me, gluten, the sugar, the salmon, the dairy, the things that I struggle with, we're still getting through and causing inflammation. And so once we, it took a couple years for us to figure this out. And that's why we wrote the book, is to help people learn faster than it took us. But once we did that and we got my gut to start to heal, then those probiotics and prebiotics were helpful, right? But the key is they don't heal your gut.
No, healing the gut means removing the foods that are really causing damage. And to remove those 100%, the gut can't heal itself.
They say gluten, if you have gluten and you've got a compromised small intestine, it will affect you and make you sick for up to 7 hours. Wow. So if you're having bread for every meal, like in my case, 3 times a day,
right,
then he's always inflamed.
I'm always inflamed. I'm always sick, and it's always going through.
Wow.
That's it. You're out, so he's taking Tums and Prilosec and Pepto-Bismol because he's always got indigestion and gas bloating and diarrhea.
Yeah. One of the things, while she brings up the diarrhea, for me, I thought having a bowel movement every 3 to 4 days was normal. And you're supposed to be able to have a healthy poop at least once a day.
At least.
Right? And so there's this Bristol stool chart that shows from a 1 to a 7, 1 being diarrhea, 7 being like deer droppings, hard constipation. And you need to be in the middle, the snake-like smooth. And so, we had somebody the other day, it was so funny. She says to me and Carla on a podcast, she says, what is the one thing that's kind of bizarre out there that you do every day with your health? And I said, I look at my poop every day to make sure it's healthy, and I'm doing it every day. If not, I'm doing something wrong. I'm eating the wrong things. And that's what people don't understand, right, Derek?
It comes out the other end and can tell you whether or not what you're eating your body likes.
That's very valid. I guess I never looked at it that way, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So that means I've got some issues then.
There you go. Most people have, especially if they're over 40.
Yeah.
They've got issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess the best way then to kind of get started then is, like you had said, eliminate just about everything that.
Well, we still have a lot of foods you can eat. A good amount of fruits and vegetables, fruits in moderation, vegetables, fish and things like that. We still, unless fish causes them an issue.
Right.
So there's still a lot of things that they can eat, but you want to get to a smaller menu to eliminate everything, and then you can start adding it back in, because that's the only way you're going to figure out what foods are compromising your immune system.
And Carla's created on our website that anybody can go to for free. There's 108 recipes that are sugar-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, smoothies that, they can have as a meal replacement. We just, we're really focused. Our passion is to take what has happened to our health and be able to help people accomplish the same things that we're accomplishing, because here's the thing, we don't want to grow older with the expectation we're going to have to deal with arthritis and have all this pain and brain fog and Alzheimer's and dementia. What we want to do is we want to live longer with optimal health.
That's good. And I think that's 108 recipes. That's huge, because I think people, like nowadays, especially, like, we have a weird relationship with food, right? Like, we don't really understand what we're doing or how to do it or how to go about being healthy. You might think you're eating something healthy when you're really not. So I think that's a good thing, offering recipes to people, because, maybe they're not in the know, or, I mean, even me, like, I feel like I've done a lot of research and I feel like I do make better choices, but there's still probably a lot I could learn from your website and recipes that I could take and introduce into my diet. So that's awesome. I love that.
Most people are living to eat, and that's why we titled the book Eating to Live. It's having a different relationship with food, looking at food to nourish your body, give you that supreme fuel to fuel your body and heal your body versus what we're doing now. It's just fast and easy and quick, and it's the standard American diet, and it's killing us.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think it's probably, would you say fair to say it's the number one cause of everything that
The
Americans
bulk
struggle with?
the bulk of the health issues are really now, there's a lot of research showing that the bulk of health issues could be eliminated with good food and lifestyle changes.
And some
There's
good
some,
supplementation.
right, there's genetics. Genetics are always going to play a role.
Of course.
But and you may have done so much damage to your body that it can't rebuild it, right? There are certain things, organs you have destroyed and you can't rebuild them. But the bulk, I would say, of the people out there can totally reverse their health through good lifestyle changes, nutrition, sleep. There's a lot of lifestyle changes that are going along with that, but they definitely could take a few. Just, it's overwhelming to take all of them, but pick a few and just get started and make a few small changes over a long period of time. They'll
Uh-huh.
make a huge difference.
Excellent. And what do you guys say to fasting? I mean, do you think it's a good healthy thing? Is it
For the
something?
most part, most people are fine with fasting, and it will help their mitochondria and it will
Mhm.
help reset their gut bio, but you can't say that's for everyone. And one of the things we learn in functional nutrition is some people have to eat every 3 hours to heal to heal their system, because maybe they've got a thyroid issue like Hashimoto's or something, and maybe they've got an autoimmune condition. So you can't say fasting is great for everybody, but what I love about functional nutrition is it says, give it a try, see how you feel, pay attention. Did that make you feel better or worse? Did you have more energy or less? Did you get brain fog, or did the brain fog go away? Most people find when they fast, the brain fog goes away.
Yeah,
So everybody's different. And that's what's great about functional nutrition is it's not one size fits all. It's
right.
a try it. Even with supplementation, try it, see how you feel. Does it make you feel better, worse, the same? What does it do to you? What does it do to your bowel movements? How do you feel? How's your stomach feel? Everything. So everything we talk about is from a scientific, you're the scientist, your body's the lab experiment.
I find that fascinating. At least with me, I know I fast intermittently 16 hours a day, and it does it for me. It clears my brain fog. It gives me
Yep.
more energy. I
Yep.
feel
Then
great.
you're a good candidate for it. But
Yeah,
you can't say across the board it's good for everybody,
right.
because there are some people that absolutely have to eat every 3 hours to heal their bodies.
So this, can you talk to me a little bit more about your company? And I mean, I obviously I got the understanding that it's to, share this wonderful news about nutrition and about healing. But is there a program that people can sign up for, or what do you guys got going on?
Go ahead.
So we've spent the last uh, year and a half, it took us 18 months to write the book. And then we spent all of September, took us 90 hours. Carla and I narrated the book for Audible. So it just got released on Audible. It just got released a couple days ago on iTunes.
That's awesome.
We built out a whole e-learning program that they just pay a very minimal one-time fee that they can use this the rest of their life, right? And so Carla's created meal plans, shopping lists. Uh, the first 14 chapters of the book is about how we overcame my health challenges and how we connected all these dots. The last 10 chapters are the lifestyle changes, these levels that Carla's created where you clear the muddy waters, then you start adding certain things back. And so we have it step by step on how to do that they can follow. For some people, they struggle with, what do I do? How do I journal? So we built the app. And then other people said, can you help us come up with a meal a day that we can replace? So we created a meal replacement shake because one of the biggest challenges people have in having a meal that's dairy-free, gluten-free, sugar-free is that when you cut out the processed foods, you cut out the sugar, you get these huge hunger cravings. So we have a patented ingredient in the protein shake that will block their hunger for up to 3 hours. So we have this kind of comprehensive program, and we've tried to make it super inexpensive so people can really take charge of their health. And we just we're doing lots of live events, we're doing trainings, we're trying to build a community, and so it's been really fun.
How they can book or free.
Yeah, if they go to our website, eatingtolive.com, we have where they can take a quiz and see if they have a leaky gut, and then they can watch a video based on their score. Also, while they're on that homepage, when they're there just for a couple seconds, up pops a pop-up where they can get our book for free as an ebook download.
Wow, that's excellent. That's excellent. And now the leaky gut, gut health, I should say, actually, is it contributed to like weight loss too? And does it help with people that are struggling maybe with weight and stuff like that?
Yeah, what I've had is I've had all of my clients, and we're working on whatever health issue they have. Every one of them has lost weight when they've done this because your body, what we call right sizes. When you remove the inflammation, your body gets to its right size. It knows what it should be, and it figures out this is where we should be because you've removed the inflammatory foods, and I'm going to reward you with a great immune system that's also going to help you in losing weight. Now, it's not overnight. It takes time, but I don't have a client that hasn't lost weight doing this too.
So like me, for example, I used to sit around 205, 210. And as I've gotten healthy over the last 3.5 years, I weigh what I weigh in high school. I sit around 180 pounds and a little bit less. So it's just amazing. And unfortunately,
I wasn't even trying.
No,
Yeah.
we weren't. It wasn't about weight loss. It was just about getting healthy. And
It's like your
Yeah,
it's like your body's natural healthy
Yep.
weight.
exactly. It
Yep.
knows what it knows what it should be at. Yep.
Wow, that's amazing. Why do you think there's not, I mean, it is, I guess it's more well known now, but why do you think there's not this push from like the medical community or from people to try to reduce inflammation through diet and try to heal more naturally?
I think I don't want to disparage doctors because they fill a role, and what they say in functional nutrition is we want you to go out there and feel the gap. And the gap is here's the doctors, they're trained, they're to deal with the symptoms, and so they go about dealing with symptoms. And big pharma gets involved. We all know that, and so they put them on prescription. What they said is, as functional nutritionists, go out and fill the gap. Help the client see that they can reclaim their health and that whatever they're working with their doctor, we're going to help them. So in the end, they could get off their medicines, but not with us. They have to get off their medicines with their doctor, right? We're not qualified to do that.
Right.
So work with the doctor and say, I'm feeling better. My numbers are getting in line. Can I go off this med? Can I go off this med? And little by little, all of our clients are getting off their medications with their doctor's help. But it really starts with their education. In talking to doctors, when you ask them how much, education do you get in nutrition, they'll say a few hours. They get very little education in 8, 10, 12 years of schooling on nutrition. So they just don't know. They just don't know because you'll ask them, does this have anything to do with nutrition? Nope. And then we'll put these people on a nutrition program and their skin issues will clear up and their heart issues will get better and their diabetes will get in line. And the doctor thinks, oh, the drugs worked. And we're like, okay, but they don't ever acknowledge that it was actually the food and lifestyle changes that worked.
Yeah, I definitely think there's something to be said about just the natural immune system in the body and its ability to heal itself. You're so right.
It is.
That's pretty amazing. How soon, like during your cancer
Did you find
and
cheese?
battle with cancer, how soon did you notice a change when you were, working on your gut health? Like, did you notice it like a few weeks? How soon did you start to notice that you're kind of maybe turning a corner?
So it did not happen during the cancer journey. Unfortunately, the doctors that I worked with never talked about my diet. We didn't understand. It wasn't until a year after I had been in remission that I worked with a doctor that said that I needed to get off of NSAIDs. I'm an athlete and have been all my life, and so I was always dealing with some kind of an injury or pain, and so I was taking those NSAIDs along with the sugar and the carbs and the processed foods and everything. People looked at me and thought, he's 200
Picture of health.
picture of health. He's a 205, 210-pound athlete, right? And he looks great, but I was a mess inside. And so when that doctor said get off NSAIDs, I was devastated because I was like, I'm already an 8 to 10 pain every day. If I take these off, I can't survive. Then we got with a restorative health doctor that said the same thing, stop taking NSAIDs. And then 5 months later, when we started learning about the leaky gut, started doing stuff, all of a sudden my pain dropped from an 8 to 10 every day down to a 4. And all of a sudden we realized they were on something. And the biggest thing that we were trying to do is keep me in remission. Had I not worked with those two doctors and Carla going to school and everything we learned, because bladder cancer is not curable. It comes back every year unless you take care of yourself and do your health. And so, make a long story short, 2018 to now, I got off all the drugs, got the inflammation out of the body. My immune system works. Even when I got COVID, it was no big deal. And our doctor said, if Carla and I ever got COVID because we added vitamin D3 that we got from Costco, right? Not very expensive. And we added zinc and we added vitamin C, right? He said, add those because you don't get enough in your diet. Carla learned in her schooling that that's what you need to do. And so when we got COVID, it was like no big deal. We didn't go get tested. I just thought I had a little bit of the flu. She thought she had like a cold for a couple of days. And we didn't find out until this happened this year in February of 2021. We found out 3 months later. We were at a place, did a blood test that showed if we had the antibodies and had COVID. And that's when we found out we had COVID, and it was no big deal.
Yeah. And that's what I wish that would have been the word coming out is let's take care of our health. Let's supplement. Let's, right. We can get through this. It's a virus. We can get through this, but that wasn't the message. And it's really unfortunate. Really is.
Yeah, it is. It is unfortunate, but I think you're definitely onto something when it comes to, taking the right supplements and building your immune system. That's excellent.
Yeah.
So I guess that's pretty much all the questions. Where can people pick up your book? Where can they check you guys out? And maybe, give them your website again, and kind of where can we, find information out about leaky gut?
Well, we'd like to just tell you how grateful we are that you took the time and invited us on your show. This is, we just appreciate this. If anybody wants to get our book for free, they can go to our website, eatingtolive.com, and they can take the leaky gut test quiz, or they can download our book for free. They just give us their name and their email address, and they can do that. We're also available. A lot of people like to read paper, and so it's on paperback book on Amazon.com. And if you like to listen to books, you can get it now on Audible and iTunes.
Yeah.
Excellent. And you've got a new client here. I'm going to check you guys out. I think I need some help. So
Great. Well, we'd love to check back with you and see how you're doing, because
excellent.
we're all about this cause, and it's really important to us to help people. I mean, David's pretty much a walking miracle right now. We weren't even sure we'd have him around, and we're grateful that we do. And so we just want to share the message with as many people as we can.
Awesome. Thanks for the support, and thanks for just spreading a beautiful message that I think it's very important that it gets out and people, listen, and excellent. Keep
Thank
doing
you.
what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.